Cash-strapped Callaghan Innovation's role and function is under review by the government-appointed panel making recommendations on New Zealand's science, innovation and technology system. Here to talk about the Innovation Agency's future is NPR reporter Fiona Rotherham. Hi, Fiona.
Hi.
Now, tell us what the panel is looking at.
Well, it's looking really at the role and function of Callaghan, why it exists, what it does, and it's also looking at what other players, how they play a role in that too. So how does it integrate with the others and how much overlap there is between them. Judith Collins, who is the Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology, has cancelled the Te Ara Pairangi review, which is the multi-year review of the science system that the previous government did, which took many years to, bring to fruition and turn out a white paper. She's also cancelled the Wellington Science City idea, which Callaghan would have benefited from because it included a revamp of its Gracefield campus. So this is really looking at, should it exist at all? Why does it, what does it do, and is it doing it well?
So that's come about now because of election promises, has it?
I think it's because she needs to do, she needs to make a decision on what to do in the system, and the review is much wider than just Callaghan. It's one part of it, but there's also the problem with the money that Callaghan has. It's in the incoming briefing to the minister late last year. Callaghan said we don't have enough money to keep doing what we're doing. It's been making a loss. Last year it made a very slim surplus, but that was because it got more money from the National Science Challenges. So it's got more money in the door, but that funding has also been discontinued from this year. So it's been warning we don't have enough money from the next financial year to keep doing what we're doing, and it wants more investment from government. Judith Collins has come back and said, well, you're not subject to the same cuts at, 6.5 to 7.5% that the public service agencies are having to make at the moment, but she still expects it to be financially sustainable or live within the envelope it's got.
Right. It's saying at the moment the cuts mean it can't provide the R&D support that businesses need. What do you think of that?
Well, at the moment they're saying they're laying off 30 staff, and that saw the really unusual step of about 86 of their own staff writing to the minister begging her to intervene, and she's come back and said no, it's an operational matter. But their concern is that if they cut it back so much, there's a level at which it just becomes unviable. If you're not doing any fundamental blue sky research and only doing industry-led, they two sort of feed each other is their argument, and you get to a level where it just doesn't become viable. Stefan Korn, who's the CEO of Callaghan, has obviously disagreed with it. He said they've considered what that level might be, but he says they've got enough left to do what is the most in demand from industry. And I think that's the telling point. He's saying they're going to cut doing some of the stuff, but the thing that is most in demand they'll still be able to do.
Okay. I mean, there have been long criticisms of this agency. People suggesting it hands out corporate welfare and things like that. Why is there that tension over this agency?
Well, there's always people who don't agree with grants, for a start. So, it has got criticism as that part of its existence, but really it stems back to how it was set up in the first place. And that goes way back, 11 years ago to 2013. It was a powering innovation review was done by the government. They're looking at how could we turn our economy around. Basically, we needed a step change to sort of get more high-value manufacturing. And one of the recommendations of that review was to set up this Advanced Technology Institute. It was to be take the rump of IRL, Industrial Research Limited, which had been a Crown Research Limited, take that and morph it into this new beast, which was modelled along the lines of the Danish Technological Institute, which is a really highly successful global research institute. That was the plan. At the last minute, Stephen Joyce, who was the minister at the time, decided to add in that funding agency role, and the two have already, not sat well together. Jim Metzen, who is a former chief science advisor to MB at that time, said it's set itself up as both gamekeeper and poacher. So the two roles, and reviews of Callaghan have shown this, that the two cultures don't sit well together, the two functions don't sit well together, but only government can really change that.
And when are we going to hear what's going to happen?
So the panels are due to report back in June, so it'll be interesting what they recommend. Obviously, it's the minister's call at the end of the day. In my view, Callaghan has an important function. Someone's got to give out those grants and R&D tax credits. I mean, they're an important part of the system. Whether it's Callaghan needs to do that or whether it can be shunted back to MB is another story. But the really core job is forcing businesses or encouraging businesses or helping businesses to do more R&D. We're at the really low end of the scale in the OECD in terms of our R&D as a percentage of GDP. We're about 1.47. It's slightly improved, but it's still, it's almost half something most of our OECD peers. And until we do that, we're not going to get that step change in the economy. So that's the real role is how do they do a better job of doing that?
Fiona, thanks so much.
Thank you.
To support our award-winning independent journalism, subscribe to nbr.co.nz.